Since I bought my first halleffect keyboard, I never felt the need to try any others. But recently I got a chance to try out the new Nuphy Halo65 HE, which only costs half of the popular Wooting 60 HE, so let's check it out. Unboxing experience is decent. We have the keyboard, cable, switch and keycap puller, and some spare keycaps. Accessories are nice, but I'm most curious about the keyboard itself. Currently I'm using a custom Wooting 60 HE, which built like this costs around 330 euros, while Nuphy Halo65 HE only costs about 100. And let me tell you, it doesn't disappoint. It's a 65% keyboard, build-wise the bottom is plastic and the top is aluminum. In between them runs a nice LED strip, but I'll get to that later. The plastic has an interesting design, which I personally like. There are silicone pads on the corners and also sturdy two-step adjustable legs, so you can put it at an angle you like. The backside has this USB-C connector and a slider which you can use to choose from 3 different profiles, but I'll speak about that later too. The top aluminum part helps a lot with rigidity because there's basically no flex. Keycaps are thick PBT with cherry profile, and for me pretty nice color combination, which unfortunately won't be nice to everybody, and if you don't want to spend any more, you're out of luck because this is the only option. I would definitely like to see more options in the future. I'm gonna go straight into the sound. There's one key, specifically spacebar, that usually, sound-wise, makes or breaks a keyboard. Luckily, spacebar on Halo65 HE is awesome. It not only has these silicone pads which dampen the sound, it's also designed in a way to reduce any unwanted sounds. Overall, I have to say that this keyboard, even though it's halleffect, sounds great. Just listen to it. Steps are well lubed, smooth, without any unwanted sounds. Switches here are the magnetic coral, which in comparison to lacquers from my Wooting have a lot less wobble, but are a bit heavier, which I actually enjoyed. And sound-wise, it's great thanks to the pour-on and silicone layers inside. The overall feeling from this pre-built €100 keyboard was levels ahead of my custom Wooting 60 HE. Of course, there's also customizable RGB in 3 separate parts. First is the mentioned LED strip, second are the LEDs under every key, and third is this little bar at the top. But here we finally get to the part that needs some polishing. This keyboard should be fully customizable through their Nuphy I/O. However, after connecting it wanted to update itself, but it failed 3 times in a row. Might be a skill issue, but whatever, it still works, so let's customize the keys. Thankfully, almost everything works as intended and there's unlimited options. Every key is individually customizable, however, what I was really curious about was the halleffect functionality, so tab number 2. Here you can set per key actuation point or set up rapid trigger. Every function has its own sub-options, so you can tweak it exactly to your liking. What struck me though is the fact that you can calibrate your switches to the board so it knows exactly how to communicate, but there are no magnetic coral or basically any other magnetic switches that you can swap however you like thanks to hot swap. So, setting up the actuation point, I wasn't as confident it's gonna work as intended. If it does, then great, but I would rather see it fixed in the future. There's also a tab for macros, so if you like to use them, go ahead, and then the last RGB tab. Here you should be able to set up all the RGB, unfortunately, only the keys and the small bar are available. For the case strip, you have to use keybinds, which for me is stupid when you can configure everything else, but whatever. Also, the mechanical profile switch I mentioned earlier, you can use it to set up different profiles and swap between them however you want. For software, this is basically it. You only get a few more options like polling rate, for example, and yes, Nuphy states 8000 Hz, which is true, but the scan rate is only 2500, so it's not gonna be true 8K. Question remains, for what would this video be if I wouldn't try it in game? Can this €100 halleffect keyboard really perform on par with something like my 60 HE? The answer is, of course, yes. If I use the Nuphy Halo65 HE or Wooting 60 HE, both performed great. I wasn't really able to notice the higher polling on the Nuphy, but what I did notice was how good the rapid trigger worked. I haven't experienced a single moment in which the keyboard wouldn't do exactly what I expected it to do. If I add the great feeling press and nice sound, I'm sure this keyboard could satisfy even the most demanding enthusiasts that were avoiding halleffect keyboards up to this point. Yes, there are a few, let's say, inconveniences, but for gaming, this is more than you could ask for. Couple it with the €100 price tag and you have a good-looking, well-performing, nice-sounding gaming keyboard. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Here is another one and I'll see you again next Friday. Bye!